The final Star Wars trailer dropped a couple of days ago, and tickets went on sale in most places around the world a couple of days ago. Buzz is actually building. Now, some of the buzz is what you might call negative buzz. There's a lot of hate out there for the trailer, but there's also a lot of optimism out there, particularly from theatre owners, about how well this film might do. Here on Deadline from a few days ago, we have Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, first day pre-sales, second best for Atom tickets. So it did pretty well, obviously lagged a little bit behind Avengers Endgame, but at one point in time, I think it was for the first hour, it outpaced what Avengers Endgame did. Now, part of that is probably due to an upgrade in their actual IT infrastructure. I know things kind of paused a bit or maybe crashed during the Avengers ticket sales right at the start, so that isn't necessarily all buzz, but the very fact that it's sold that many tickets straight away shows there is still a lot of attention, still a lot of people that want to see this Star Wars film. Obviously, there's a lot of people that want to hate on the Star Wars film as well, but all of that adds together just to the general buzz going around. A lot of trending videos on YouTube were related to the Star Wars video, or you could see all over the place with people's reactions to the trailer. I didn't really watch any of them, but I'm assuming a lot of them were negative. I did see some other videos breaking them down and complaining about a lot of the aspects of the trailer. But it is out there, it's getting talked about. Is there such thing as bad publicity? Maybe, maybe not. Look at Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel made over $1.1 billion. It got a lot of hate before the film was released. It got a lot of hate after the film was released as well. But before it happened, there was a lot of people talking about it. Lots of things talking about Star Wars Rise of Skywalker right now. When tickets first went on sale for Avengers Endgame, I took this screenshot here from one of the local multiplexes near me. They put 51 sessions on for the first day that you could go and see Avengers Endgame for. And they basically ran it as often as they could. Now, one of the disadvantages that Endgame faced was its 3-hour running time. And then if you put ads in there and cleaning time, you've got about 3.5 hours between sessions. But that is what they were running. Absolutely ridiculous amount. And obviously it broke all kinds of records. Well, if you thought that was a lot of sessions, that multiplex has said, hold my beer, let's go see what we're going to do for Rise of Skywalker. Here it is. They're putting on 75 sessions opening day. So this is the same place in the same year. 75 sessions for Rise of Skywalker. Now, it is listed as a bit of a shorter film, so you can put more sessions on, and they are actually being allowed to do a midnight opening as opposed to the 6 a.m. opening here, or 12:01, basically a minute after midnight. So that does allow them to have more sessions, but 75 sessions, so that's ridiculous. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to earn more money. You still got to get those tickets bought, but they're definitely giving it the best opportunity ever of shattering all of the records. I don't think anyone's predicting that it's going to shatter Endgame's opening records, but the opportunity is definitely there. The cinemas are obviously thinking this is a winner. Let's put out as many sessions as possible. So 75 here, I don't know. It just seems a baffling amount of tickets. So after being on sale for a day, it's been 2 days now, but I took the screenshot a day ago. This is what you can get if you want to go see it at 12:01, which I believe is the equal earliest session anywhere around the world. So if you want to see the film first, other than the premiere, this is one of the places you can go to. There are still tickets available, as you can see here, but not many. So the red is all of the tickets bought. So it's basically getting sold out on the earliest sessions. Now, what they've done here, and this is something they didn't have when Avengers was out, like 6 months ago, is they've got double beds now in the cinema. I don't know when this happened. I guess it's fairly recently. They're all sold out. They've got 5 in this particular one here. But there are double bed tickets that you can actually buy. So I haven't noticed that anywhere yet, but there you go. That's a new trend, I guess, or maybe it's been in all of the cinemas except for the ones I've been seeing movies in. But you can go get a double bed to watch the movies in. And then here's the second session, which is at 12:02. So yeah, a couple of tickets left at the front, but that's about it. So they're all selling out quick. And all of the early sessions they have starting around about 12 in this multiplex, they're basically gone, except for right at the front, except for the double beds. The double beds, they went really quick, it looks like. Now, they then have a gap. They've decided to not run anything after that, which is probably smart. So they've said people aren't going to rock up at 3 a.m. as much, and maybe it's just a staffing issue. They don't want to have the hassle of having staff there for 24 hours. So the next time that things start is about 6 a.m., and then if you look to see the tickets at 6 a.m., those tickets certainly aren't selling very fast. And the same goes for across all of the other session times. So the midnight screenings or close to midnight screenings, they're just gone basically. But all of the other ones during the day, most of those 75 sessions, plenty of tickets left. You can get a ticket on the opening day still very easily. There is, 2 months to go until the movie comes out, a little bit under 2 months. So, there's a lot of time left until these tickets go. Keep track of it and see if they do in fact all get sold up beforehand. Another little thing just to keep an eye on is right now they've got the preliminary length of the movie released, and that's what all these sessions are based on. There are rumors going out there that lots of the film's getting recut, re-edited, reshot, and so on. That may result in a drastically different movie time. Now, if that happens, it'd be a bit of a disaster for all these pre-selling tickets because the session times would have to change and some would have to move around. So if there is a lot of edits going on, the film itself probably still needs to have the same length. But just something maybe to keep your eye on. Is there a big change in the actual length of the movie as opposed to what they're saying the length of the movie is right now? Another way to gauge the hype of the film is to look at the trailer views compared to the Endgame trailer views. Now, there are different trailers for the different films, and it's definitely not a one-for-one comparison, but it gives us some sort of idea. So one of the Endgame trailers was released about a month and a half before the movie was released, and after 3 days, it had 43 million views. And right now, the Rise of Skywalker trailer's been out for just about 3 days, nearly, and it's got about 17 million views right now. So a fair bit of a gap there, but that's not to say that Rise of Skywalker should have the same numbers as the biggest film ever, but it does give us a good comparison to go on, particularly since both films are being released in the same year. Now, the four figures I have here for the Rise of Skywalker so far, the 492,000, that was after it was out for a couple of hours, or maybe not even a couple of hours. The 5.6 million, that was after about 12 hours, and the same goes for the Endgame. Endgame had about 23 million views after 12 hours, compared to the 5.6 you see there for Rise of Skywalker. After about 24 hours, it was 27 million versus 12, and after now about 48 hours, 43 million versus 17 million. So a massive amount of views, 17 million views, but lagging a lot behind where the Endgame trailer was at roughly the same time. And if you look at the chart portion here, you can just see what happened with the Endgame trailer. It did get a total of 102 views at the end of the day where it was actually released. So the 26th of April was where the film released, and 102 views is what it actually managed to get. So we'll see how the Rise of Skywalker trailer moves around. And as I said, it's not a like-for-like comparison. It gives us a rough idea, but the Endgame trailer may not have been released, for example, on a Monday night. So Monday night was when the Rise of Skywalker trailer was out. Weekends will probably have better viewership than during the week, and Monday night doesn't give you a lot of good viewership after it's released because a lot of people are going to sleep and then people have to work or go to school in the morning. But it is still a comparison. Again, not like for like, but it gives us some rough idea as to how many people are just interested in seeing the trailer for Rise of Skywalker. Here we have the top 6 opening weekends from Box Office Mojo. They just updated their website. Finally, it was looking horribly dated. Don't know if I like the new design yet, but it is different. So we've got Avengers Endgame, number 1, $357 million in the opening weekend. We've got Avengers Infinity War, number 2. Now, with inflation, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens is number 2. Does earn a little bit more than Infinity War. We've got Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, with $220 million, number 4. Jurassic World and The Avengers down in number 6. So right now, just very, very, very early on, the hype is there for it to beat the number 4 on the list. Okay, the hype is there for it to beat this $220 million and to have, at the very least, the 4th biggest opening weekend ever. The opening weekends are really all about the hype. It's only after the opening weekend that reviews actually matter, and the total gross will be either good or bad based on whether or not people think the film's horrible or very good. So the first number here is the main one. It's all hype-driven. The hype, I don't think, is anywhere near what Avengers Endgame had at the end. Avengers Endgame amount of hype was just ridiculous, but again, as we've sort of shown here, the theatre owners are certainly giving it the chance to earn a lot of money. Doesn't mean it will, but it's getting the chance of enough session times, and it's trending all over the place. Again, maybe not for the right reasons. It might be trending because people are saying, avoid this film, it looks bad, but it's still getting talked about. It still has publicity going on for the film. So right now, very, very, very early on, it looks to me as if it is definitely going to beat the $220 million opening amount of money and become at least the 4th biggest opening weekend in the North American market. very different things internationally. Star Wars doesn't go very well in China, and without China, you can't make a big international opening weekend. It's as simple as that. So it's not really going to be anywhere up near the number 4 mark internationally, but you'll still get good money, but once again, you need to get a massive amount of money off China to start breaking international records. Star Wars doesn't do that, and that's why the Star Wars box offices basically haven't been as good as the MCU box offices for the large films. Now, you can also argue whether the MCU films have been better than the Star Wars films, but basically, Chinese box office, that's where a massive difference actually is between what they're taking in. If we just look quickly at the second column here, that's the total North American gross. Here's where quality perhaps kicks in a bit and hype dies away a little bit. If we just look at number 3 and 4 here, the 2 Star Wars films, we can see they had a fairly even opening weekend. Okay, 247 versus 220, fairly close in the scheme of things. But the total gross for The Force Awakens, 936 million versus 620. That's what you can see happened with The Last Jedi, where people obviously didn't like it. So opening weekend hype was very similar, but the total box office about a third less. That's where things actually kick into, do people actually like the movie? So the same thing will happen for this movie. It may have a massive opening weekend, but will it earn more than the $620 million that The Last Jedi got? Well, that really depends on whether people think it's a better film than The Last Jedi. It's as simple as that. I think, fairly anecdotally again right now, that the feeling is that it will be, because a lot of people think The Last Jedi is one of the worst films ever made, at the very least one of the worst Star Wars films ever made. Right now there's a bit of a Revenge of the Sith vibe going on, I think, where people think that Attack of the Clones was the worst Star Wars film ever made, and the next film's going to be a lot better. Well, that's what I think is going on here. So without diving into the numbers really, I think this $620 million mark, you have to think that would have to go, and that this Star Wars film will earn more money than The Last Jedi. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.